All right, we are live tonight. We have a bracket in our hands, and there we go. We'll get those fixed up. We have a bracket, and I couldn't be more excited. We are going to break down. Let's get that up and going. Yep, the bracket is out. We have made it to March Madness. Selection Sunday has arrived, and we couldn't be more excited over here. Like I said, guys, we're going to be coming out with live shows basically daily now. I think that's what we're doing right now. Until the tournament's over, we will have live shows probably about every night, going over recaps, previews of games. We're going to let this marinate, so we're not going to do any previews tonight. We'll start with the previews tomorrow. But, man, we have a bracket out. It's amazing. I would say the committee got about, I like all the bids. We're going to talk about one that might be controversial. At the end of the episode, we're going to talk a little bit about what I think might be controversial of who they put in the tournament. But for the majority, I would say 67 out of the 68 teams that are in, I agree with. And I don't think people are going to like with the one team I don't like in it. So we're going to get into all of it. And we couldn't be more excited here. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We gained we're gaining subscribers. We're up to 52 subscribers on YouTube now. So we're more than halfway on our way to 100 subscribers on YouTube. Let's go ahead and hit that. That'd be awesome if you guys could hit that. And TikTok, we're trying to hit 16,000, which I think we can do fairly soon. Hopefully by the time March Madness is over, it would be awesome. So without further ado, let's get right into this episode and my initial reactions. So my initial reactions, we can look at the regions as we were talking about it right now. My initial reactions, the East region is a gauntlet. You look at the East region with Duke. You got Duke and UConn in the same one. So that right there. So if you guys didn't know, Duke Duke was the number 1 overall seed, and UConn was the number 6 overall seed. You got as your 3 seed, you have Michigan State. Your 4 seed, you have Kansas, and your 5 seed, you have St. John's. I mean, that's awesome. So I would say for a viewing vantage point, you look at that East region, and man, there's going to be fireworks in those games. It should be a really fun game. All those games. The St. John's and Northern Iowa. Can I interest you in that? South Florida and Louisville. South Florida. Oh my goodness, South Florida is a team to watch out for. I love what South Florida could possibly do to this Louisville team. That's a team I have my eye on for sure. Moving on to the West version of it. Looking at that region, looking at matchups, Long Island, the Sharks are in there. They got their fins up. That's awesome. High Point gets a 12 seed, and they draw Wisconsin. That's something that has my eyes in the West. Utah State, Villanova. Utah State feel a little bit disrespected, which we're going to talk about. Villanova, how are they in front of them? But that game is going to be interesting. Moving on, what BYU team are we going to get? Are we going to get the BYU team that can play defense like they did the Big 12 championship? Or are we going to get the ones that lost 5-5 since Richie Saunders' injury? Moving on, Gonzaga. We could get a Gonzaga BYU in the Sweet 16. Where do I sign up for that? Miami, Missouri. I mean, Missouri a 10 seed. I'm kind of shocked by it. And then moving on, you got Purdue and Queens. This is our first time in the tournament. Awesome. The West region is going to be fun to watch. Moving on to the next region that we're going to be previewing, the Midwest region, and the top overall seed is Michigan. They will play UMBC or Howard. Last time UMBC was a 16 seed, just going to say that. Georgia, St. Louis, the A-10 gets their second bid. St. Louis lost that game, and then you got Georgia who's coming in hurting themselves. Who's going to win that? That's going to be a very interesting game. Akron and Texas Tech. Akron has been in this tournament for the last 2 or 3 years trying to get that win, elusive win in the tournament. They just have not came up with enough to win it. So that's something I have my eyes on. Alabama and Hofs, that one's going to be very interesting. What Alabama team are we going to get? Are they going to play defense? Kind of like BYU. Tennessee, Miami, Ohio, SMU. That will be interesting. Virginia, that is a team that has turned around the culture. Ryan Odom, got to give him so much credit. Kentucky, Santa Clara, a team out of the WCC, who Mark Pope used to play twice a year at BYU in Santa Clara. We got Iowa State, Tennessee State. You look at that region. That I think Michigan is definitely the favorite, but Iowa State is a team to watch out for in that region. Moving on to the last region before we get going with the rest of this show, the South region. Florida is the number 1 seed. Houston is number 2. Your number 3 is Illinois. 4 and 5, Nebraska, Vanderbilt. 6 is North Carolina. 7, St. Mary's. 8 and 9, Clemson, Iowa. So let's go ahead and let's look at this. Vanderbilt, McNeese has my eyes. McNeese, the winners of their conference. Vanderbilt, who I think kind of got a little bit disrespected, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Nebraska, Troy. Nebraska needs a win. If they beat Troy, it would be their first win ever in March Madness. Is it going to happen against Troy? A team out of the Sun Belt who has been playing really well, who I've been saying, I think I'm going to take them to win a game, and they're going to play Nebraska. If that game is going to keep me up at night. Moving on, North Carolina and VCU. You look at this draw. If North Carolina was healthy, oh my gosh, this is a great draw for them. But they're not. And they're going to play a VCU team that won the A-10, who wouldn't have gotten the tournament if they didn't win the A-10, which I thought that was more shocking. Moving on, St. Mary's, Texas A&M, that game will be interesting. So those are some of my initial thoughts when I look at that, man. We are, these regions are going to be awesome. Super excited about it. So that leads me, I kind of left a little cliffhanger. My 4 and 5 seed question marks. What's my 4 and 5 seed? Vanderbilt being a 5 seed is it's kind of questioning to me. Another 5 seed that I'm a little concerned about was, why is St. John's a 5 seed? Those 2 5 seeds, I had both those on my 4 line, and then looking at the 4 line, I can understand you put Arkansas, Kansas. I understand you put Kansas up there. I kind of like St. John's more than Kansas, but we'll see. They're going to play each other probably in the round of 32. Vanderbilt, man, you could have switched them with Nebraska. So, I guess 5 and 4 doesn't really matter. But I don't know. I don't see Vanderbilt as a 5 seed after just beating the number one, one of the number 1 seed in the SEC and number 4 overall team in Florida. Where Kansas, I guess, they do have that win against Arizona at home. They beat Houston at home. I think that is accurate. Maybe that's wrong. If not, I apologize. But I can understand that. Kansas has some big quad A, 1A wins. They also have some losses that are inexcusable, like a 20-point loss to Cincinnati. So those are some things on the 4 and 5 line that I look at that, maybe I can understand. I can understand that. So some other things that got my attention. Right here, St. Mary's ahead of Utah State. That is one thing that is very questionable to me. Why is St. Mary's a 7 seed when Utah State is a 9 seed is something that I don't really understand. In terms of, I understand that St. Mary's is a 7, but why is Utah State so far behind of St. Mary's? If we want to go down and look at this, St. Mary's, they're 9 and 5 in quad 1, quad 2 games. Utah State 13 and 4, 13 and 5, quad 1 and quad 2. You look at your predictive measurements. St. Mary's is ahead of Utah State, but if we look at the win, I don't know. New Mexico, Utah State beat them twice, and they beat Santa Clara by 30, and that's who St. Mary's got beat by twice. St. Mary's got beat by a common opponent in Boise State. They have that win against Gonzaga, but I don't think the difference between St. Mary's and Utah State is 2 seeds. St. Mary's, they ended the year getting beat by Santa Clara in the semifinals. Utah State won the regular season of the Mountain West, and then they won the conference championship. It's just, I could understand if they're neck and neck. I had St. Mary's and Utah State next to each other. I did not have St. Mary's as a 7 seed. I did not have Utah State as a 9 seed. Very interesting. The way they did that, it definitely shows a disrespect for Utah State. And then that's going to lead me right into the Mountain West. A 1 bid? The Mountain West is the first time that they've had a 1 bid league since 2017. And I can understand, you could say, oh, well, they didn't do that good in the non-conference. If the net rankings in the quad are what they are, Utah, just so everyone knows, the Mountain West, their average rank of quad was 113. That's the highest of a 1 bid league in terms of 1 bid league, 113 or 113. I personally had San Diego State over Miami, Ohio. I know that's going to draw some eyebrows. I had San Diego State in. I thought that San Diego was a play-in team. I was shocked when I saw the reveal and they weren't in. San Diego State, really, I don't understand that. I really don't understand the 1 bid Mountain West. I don't know what they're trying to prove. You could make the case that New Mexico's a team in there as well. They beat 2 of the teams in there. Very questionable, I would say. But I would say if the Mountain West, if you're going to have to blame themselves, is in the non-conference. You got New Mexico. They got beat by New Mexico State. Boise State got beat by a Division II school, but they did beat St. Mary's, but they got beat by a Division II school, quad 7 loss. San Diego State, you got beat by Troy. But, I mean, if you want to say they got beat by Troy, Troy's in the tournament. So I don't really understand the Mountain West. I think it's a terrific conference. I think there's a reason why these top teams are going to the Pac-12. I mean, we're going to get Utah State, San Diego State, Gonzaga, Boise State. I mean, I would say the top of the Pac-12 is definitely better than Mountain West. We'll see if they can get any more. It should be a great conference. So I have my questions, I would say. I don't really understand, I mean, our reasoning for that. But yeah. So moving on with the show here, taking a look at the bubble, did they get it right or wrong? I had no problem with the bubble for 67 of these teams. The one team I have a problem with, let's go through that. I mean, their last 4 in, I think they have the seed list here. Let's go ahead and let's look at the seed list here. The main one Missouri, I had them in Dayton. I was kind of shocked. Let's see if we can get a seed list pulled up. So let's go ahead. Can we get that pulled up? Here we go. So the seed list here, if we look down at the last seed list here, SMU was the last team. Miami, Ohio. So the first 4 out would have been, or the last 4 in. Miami, Ohio was the last team in, but they said like before they scrubbed it, they were already in, whatever that means. SMU, Texas, NC State. Personally, I don't understand why Missouri's ahead of NC State. That's one thing. I mean, you look at both those. I mean, what is your argument? I don't really understand the love for the SEC. I don't understand why they get 10 bids. It just makes no sense to me. But yeah. The first 4 out was Oklahoma, San Diego State, or it might have gone Oklahoma, Auburn, San Diego State, and I forgot who the other team was. But those were the first 3 out. And if you guys saw my show yesterday, and I talked about already a little bit, that I talked about San Diego State being in the tournament. Here's my hot take, and I know I'm going to get people, and I'm going to come with facts. So I'm going to get my facts pulled up for why San Diego State should have been in the tournament instead of Miami, Ohio. You absolutely just heard me correct. If I had to be in the room, I would have picked San Diego State over another mid-major, Miami, Ohio. And I know I'm going to get people in my comment section say, "Oh, Miami, Ohio, 31-1. All right, let's take a look at their resume. Right here, they are 64th in the net ranking. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Some of their wins, that they are 3-0 in quad 2 wins. You got to give them that. They're 3-0. Okay. They beat Wright State, who's in the tournament. They beat Akron, and it's surprisingly Toledo's up there now. They have a quad 4 loss. So they're 3-0 in quad 2. They don't have a quad 1 win on their resume, and they're 15-1 in quad 4. Okay. I know I'm going to get people, people aren't going to schedule Miami, Ohio. Okay, if you're going to tell me people aren't going to schedule Miami, Ohio, if that is what your argument is, let's look at San Diego State and who they played. San Diego State, in their non-conference, played Michigan, Baylor, Arizona. Who else? I know there's some more here. Yeah, I mean, Michigan, Baylor, Arizona. What do you mean teams? Well, do you think I look San Diego State's a mid-major, same as Miami, Ohio. Why in the world would Miami, Ohio, to make the claim, oh, no one wants to play us? Oh, Michigan, Arizona, and Baylor, they wanted to play San Diego State. San Diego State wasn't scared. So my argument for San Diego State being in over Miami, Ohio, is that San Diego State went and scheduled in the non-conference. They went and played Baylor, they're not in the tournament. They played Michigan. They played Arizona. You could say they are 6-2 in quad 2 games. They were 3-8 in quad 1 opportunities. They had the quad 3 loss. They got beat by Troy, who's a tournament team. But, I just don't understand. If we want teams to go out and schedule the best possible opponent, Why in the world is San Diego State left at home because they scheduled Michigan and Arizona, 2 of the 1 seeds and the players? And why is Miami, Ohio, oh, no one wants to play them? Well, then schedule in the non-conference. Why would teams want to play a Mountain West team instead of a MAC team? It makes zero sense to me. If that's what your argument is for Miami, Ohio, based on metrics, is the worst bubble team to ever make it. And yes, they went 31-1. You give them their props. And yes, I did. I had an opinion change. I went and dove deep into the numbers. No, I would have had San Diego State ahead of Miami, Ohio. I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but we need to reward teams that go out and schedule in the non-conference. I don't want to hear the excuse of, oh, no one wants to play us. Oh, then why did San Diego State play Michigan and Arizona? If, San Diego State goes and schedules maybe a quad 4 game, maybe they play like a team like Miami, Ohio, who isn't probably like a quad 4 game. Actually, no, they're a quad 2. It depends on where they play at, but I don't really understand the argument for Miami, Ohio. I think it's great that they're in 2-bid MAC. I'm not against it. But for me personally, as a guy that really does this bracketology and looks through all the metrics, why are we punishing San Diego State for going out and scheduling in the non-conference? That's the thing I don't understand. I mean, San Diego State, 12-11, 14-6 in the Mountain West. I don't know, but we'll see Miami, Ohio get beat by 30 in the first game. I guarantee it. Whether that's to Tennessee, I mean, maybe, or if they beat SMU, I don't know. But yeah, that is something that really rubbed me the wrong way, is when I looked at San Diego State and Miami, Ohio. I personally have San Diego State in, and that's based off why. You look at you can give any metric that you want, and you can say, oh, Miami, Ohio, 31-1. Okay, name another metric that they're better than in San Diego State. And no, I did not mention Auburn or Oklahoma. They have an SEC, and they manipulate the net rankings. Look it up. Ask Frank Mason. He went on a show and talked about it. San Diego State went and scheduled in the non-conference, and they did not get rewarded for it. That's my take on the bubble. Moving on. Let's talk about my winners of the bracket. So when I'm looking at this bracket, I'm going to talk about winners who I think they got a really good draw. Houston. I love Houston's draw to the Final Four. Houston is a 2 seed. They match up well with one of those teams. Give me Houston as a winner of the bracket release. Another team that won the bracket release. I look at a team, where are they? Iowa State. I love Iowa State and the way they match up with those. I think they're a winner. St. Mary's is a winner for obvious reason. They're a 7 seed. They have no right to be a 7 seed, which we've already talked about. Another, let's go ahead. Let's look at a mid-major here. South Florida getting to play Louisville. I think that's a winner as well. So those are my 3 or 4 winners that I have on the bracket. South Florida getting to play a Louisville team who has not been playing well lately. They've kind of struggled. Malik Brown, he'd been out of the lineup, or I might have just butchered that name. But yeah, those are kind of my winners. Miami getting to play Missouri in the first round. That's another winner. Let's go into my losers of the bracket. So the losers on my bracket are teams that got a tough draw. First off, Duke. We talked about that in the East region. Duke got a unbelievably hard. They got a hard one there. Looking around, Nebraska, man, getting to play Troy. That's a tough draw. Louisville is a tough draw. Those are 2 or 3 losers. I'll give you one more. Texas Tech having to play Akron in the first round. That is a tough draw. Michigan State, UConn. I look at a UConn team. They are not guaranteed to the Sweet 16. I look at both of UCLA and UCF. That's a tough draw. So in my losers, those are probably 4 or 5 losers that I currently have of the bracket. So yeah, guys, that's our full show for tonight, man. We are back in March. We are super excited. I know some people might get mad at me for my Miami, Ohio, San Diego State take. I think that it was a take that needed to be out. I really did. So with that being said, I think we're going to hop off the air here. Like I said, guys, we're short 20-minute episodes every single time, just for a good commute. Let me know if you guys want me to start doing some longer episodes, which I probably could, but I'm just going to keep doing what the people want here. And like I said, guys, go check out the TikTok. Go check out our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you like to podcast. We are there now. We're getting big, I guess, or something to that nature. So like I said, guys, we'll be back tomorrow previewing the 2 first-round matchups. And, yeah, we're going to get more into it. Who are my Cinderellas? We're going to talk about that. this week coming up. So it's a good week to follow. Like I said, guys, content will be going out all week, 2 or 3 videos. And with that being said, have a great night, and we'll see you guys back here same time tomorrow.